All right, Rod's Tube, episode 2. Sabres Islanders recap. Sabres 4-3 over the Islanders last night downtown at KeyBank Center in downtown Buffalo, New York. Sabres improved to 46-21-8 for 100 points with 7 games to go. 100 points. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the most ardent Sabres fan in the world, the most optimistic person in the world. Nobody thought they'd reach 100. You're lying if you thought they'd reach 100 points. I think everybody's uh, ceiling, as far as prediction goes, was 96, maybe 98, if everything fell their way. And maybe that would be enough to get them into the second wild card spot. But they have left that in the rearview mirror since December 9th and have played at an incredible clip. So they reach 100 points, first place in the division, uh, one game over Tampa Bay and a point. But Tampa Bay has got a game in hand as we move down the stretch here. So 2 points over on Tampa. So Tampa with 98, the Sabres with 100. Organizational win 2000. 2000th win for the organization. And they do it in a night where they put up 100 points on the season. And the magic number now is 2. 2 points tomorrow night in Ottawa gets them into the playoffs officially. There is a scenario where they could lose in overtime or in a shootout. And I believe if the Flyers and Blue Jackets lose, they'll be in. Don't quote me on those two teams, but it doesn't even matter. It's 2 points away from solidifying a playoff spot. I'm currently in first place in the division and tied with Carolina in points for 100. There is a real turning point in this game, but as far as the pertinent numbers go, Quinnond is 18th on the power play. Thompson is 38th on the power play. Krebs is 11th. And then Bo Byram, which actually turned out to be the game winner, is 11th into an empty net. Outshot the Islanders 33-28. Face-offs. Sabres under 50% again, 27-59. Only 2 of 20 in the defensive zone on face-offs. So this makes the Carrick injury, which I'll get into in a second, even more impactful as they move along. As they get finish the regular season and go into the playoffs. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who now at the moment seems to be the clear-cut number 1, but as always this season, bouncing back between him and Alex Lyon and then sprinkling a little Colton Ellison, but he hasn't seen the ice in a long time and not sure if he will. He might if something doesn't mean anything in the last game of the year against Dallas. But Luukkonen, 28 saves, and obviously the biggest one was on the penalty shot on Anders Lee, who was taken down by Owen Power and awarded a penalty shot by the referees. I'll get into them in a second. A real good, gritty, tough win against a Islander team that likes to choke off the breakout. They like to smother the ice. They don't exactly trap, but it's kind of like the 2026 version. They're 7th in goals against, and with Sorokin back there, they play a playoff style hockey, and this is what the Sabres are gonna see as the playoffs start. And they're going to see this as the season in the last 7 games in some respect. But the Islanders are going to build for the playoffs. The only problem with the Islanders is the goal scoring. They're only 18th in the league in goals. So that has been their problem for the last few years. Defensively, very fine club and a very smart club collectively. And as far as playing defensive hockey. And they are a pain. They are the kind of team that Sabres theoretically wouldn't want to run into because of the fact that the Islanders can slow the game down. They can basically, the football equivalent is to bleed the play clock so the other team's offense doesn't get on the field. But they really can, and they have some serious talent. I mean, Matthew Schaefer, who's going to be the rookie of the year, Played almost 30 minutes last night and picked up an assist. So, incredible young talent there on the blue line for the Islanders. But they play that kind of brand of hockey that you're going to see in the playoffs. And the Sabres found their way through it. And they didn't get impatient. They didn't try to start firing pucks up the middle on the breakouts, getting them picked off. They stayed patient. They stayed with it. And this is something that this team has done since this streak started in the second week of December. And I guess that speaks to coaching. It speaks to really the level of maturity that some of the young core players have developed over this season. They're not panicking and they're believing in themselves. And everything that's coming out of that locker room is we talk to each other and we believe, we have confidence, we can do this. And they're doing it over and over again. A turning point really in this game, if you want to look at it from a 34,000 view, 34,000 foot view, is the Anders Lee hit on Josh Norris in the second period, which I don't know how this isn't a boarding penalty. There's talk of 5 in the game. It wasn't that, but it was boarding. And he hit him in the numbers. And if the curved plexiglass really put a nice indentation on Josh Norris, and I don't know how many Sabres fans out there, when they saw him on all fours on the ice, I was saying, "Oh God, here we go again," because he's been so brittle in his career, and he's actually, he was injured earlier this year, but he's been healthy lately, and I'm thinking, "Oh no, knee, rib, shoulder, what's it going to be?" But I can't tell you the relief I had as a Sabres fan when I saw the blood pouring out of his mouth. Now he doesn't think that way, I'm sure, but I'm like, "Oh, all right. Worst case scenario, he might have a concussion." But he cut his lip up pretty good, and I'm sure the inside of his mouth is no picnic today as he tries to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But that is really where the turning point started, because in a game that had a bit of an emotion, this really ratcheted it up. And, like I said, should have been a penalty. Josh Norris in the third gets hit from behind again, this time by Scott Mayfield, and then Norris winds up taking a roughing call. And gets 4 minutes because he cut Norris, and Norris gets 2. I would say this about Josh Norris here. Last night, I don't blame him for being edgy and for wanting to go after an Islander, which he did in Mayfield, and it cost him 2 minutes. Okay, big deal. They killed it off. It doesn't hurt you. But Norris, he's a target because other teams know that he is a goal scorer. And I don't know why he has got this penchant now for trying to set people up with the extra pass. He should be shooting more. And I'm sure Lindy's telling them so every day. You're a goal scorer. Shoot the puck more. And he is, in basically, as far as talent wise goes, probably in the top third of goal scorers in this league, as far as pure talent. He's going to have to learn, especially as we get into later this month in the playoffs. He's going to have to play through a lot of this because it's coming his way. Guys like Tuck have seen this before. They can shake it off. But when you're Josh Norris, you're going to be a target, and he's got to learn to play through all this, and he can't let it get under his skin, because I guarantee you, once the playoff starts, once their opponent looks at the roster and says, okay, we have the Sabres, okay, here are their players, here's what we want to implement strategically, this is what we want to do, this is what we did during the season, what worked, what didn't, okay, now let's go down the lineup. And they're going to look at Josh Norris and say, let's try to get under his skin, because we don't want him being a real difference in this series, which is when Josh Norris puts his goal scoring hat on, can be. He can be a difference in 2 out of 6 games. You haven't seen that kind of domination this year, but it's there. So he's got to work through a lot of that stuff. Sam Carrick now, he decides in the third to avenge to avenge Josh Norris and take on Anders Lee. First of all, yes, the question is, and this started right after the fight, after Carrick got hurt, where's Logan Stanley? I mean, this is why you brought him in for situations like this. He wasn't on the ice. I don't know why that is. Um, I don't know if Carrick said, "Hey, look, he's mine. I'll take care of this," because obviously him and Mallenstein switched from center to right wing, so Mallenstein could take the draw, and those two were jawing at each other. You just knew they're going, and he acquitted himself pretty well. Well, pretty well until the end, because Anders Lee's a bull. Not only is he an excellent talent and has a complete game, he's also tough as hell, and he's a big, big player. And he used that 30-pound advantage to tie up Carrick and just basically pile drive him into the ice as Carrick had his arm extended. So it's on the left-hand side. So is it a broken forearm, separated shoulder? I wouldn't count on seeing him for a while unless the tests come back and say, it's just a really bad bruise. But the way he responded, it looked, or a slight separation. It looked like he got banged up really, really good. And I admire the heart, but you got to pick your spots. And you might have been best served to let Logan Stanley take that invitation or start that fight with Lee, because now you're down the fourth line center. And I was reading last night, I'm like, wow, fourth line center, that makes a big deal out of it. Well, he takes a lot of defensive zone draws. Now, he wasn't great on it last night as far as defensive zone, but he's been trusted by Lindy in late game situations uh, and on the penalty kill to go out there and win draws. He's tough as nails. He's one of those playoff guys that's gritty, that's going to play through the waves and waves of bodies that are going to come at him in the neutral zone and in the offensive zone. And it really hurts because this is going to test their depth, because when they got Carrick, right away he jumped in the Tampa game and was like, well, I might be new here, but these are my boys now, and I'm going to make an impression. And boy, did he. And he maybe even overachieved in the goal scoring department, but he was really energized coming here, and it's a shame to see him go out. So hopefully, it isn't as serious as it looked. I guess we'll find out a little bit more tonight and probably more tomorrow as to the status of Carrick. But you admire the heart. The brains weren't there, but you can't get too upset at him for doing something that pretty much had to be done. I mean, you can't let Norris get cheap shotted like that, and especially when there's no call. Somebody had to do something, and you would just hope that maybe it was Logan Stanley might have picked up the mantle and did that, or maybe Greenway. I mean, you could sacrifice Greenway. I mean, Jordan Greenway comes back in the lineup, and he could have been useful in getting beat up by Anders Lee, uh, so you could spare Carrick, but that certainly wasn't the case. So see what happens. But the refereeing last night was terrible, and not only did they miss the Lee boarding call, but they list Benson got hooked down. They missed about 4 calls that were blatant that they didn't. That the arm didn't go up, then of course it got chippy. Because if you're not going to call it when the elbows are coming up and the sticks are coming up, well, of course you're going to take liberties, and why not? And Anders Lee did, and then you saw the result of that, and they didn't keep a lid on the game, and I guess you could say exponential, well, not exponentially, but you could say by result of that results in a Sabre injury, but that would be stretching it. But let's face it, Jake Brank and Kendrick Nicholson did themselves no favors as far as their refereeing metrics go, because they were terrible last night. And the best part of watching a game, when it's correctly officiated, is when you're driving home for the game or you're turning the game off with your remote and you think to yourself, who was the ref tonight? Who did we get? What pair did we get? And you can't remember, and you got to get online and look it up. That's when you know you have a good game called. This wasn't. This was not good. And I'm going to follow these two along as the season ends. And let's hope they don't get any key playoff assignments, because that's not a good look for the league at all. This is something that you have to put up with night to night, as you do in the NFL. Some refs call pass interference by the book, some let them play. So uh, that was a poor performance there by Brink and Nicholson. Owen Power again, boy, he's just such an enigma. Um, Credible puck mover, makes good decisions on the rush, but he is from 8 feet from the goal line, 8 feet out. He is a complete liability. On the first Islander goal on the power play, he's out there with Stanley. He is next to Stanley. He has to widen to take his side of the ice, because that's where the pass went for an easy goal by Callum Ritchie to tie the game at 1. And you have Sam Carrick trying to get back, going out of position from high in the zone, back down low to cover for Power, who inexplicably did not take his side of the ice on the power play, and he gets called for the uh, taking down of Anders Lee that led to the penalty shot that UPL stopped. Uh, I don't know if anyone can figure out Owen Power. I don't know. I know for certain he doesn't know. Um, the Islanders' second goal by Lee was a bounce off of Power standing in the crease. Now that's bad luck, but I've seen that a few times uh, in his career. And just his head turned to the play, not paying attention. His head just doesn't seem in the game defensively. And just when you're ready to strangle him and take him off the ice and bolt him to the middle of the bench, he comes out, with a 2 assist game and looks great offensively. So he's one that I have my eye on in the playoffs, and I'm sure the opposition, whoever they wind up with, whether it be Montreal or Boston or whomever, are going to look at. They're going to look at the target. It's going to be interesting to see if his game elevates mentally, his hockey IQ does, when all this time and space that he, if he thinks he doesn't have any time and space now, wait until 3 weeks from now. He's in for a hell of a surprise, because they're going to be on him like white on rice every time he has the puck and he's trying to make a decision. I'm going to try to force him into bad plays. Your 3 stars: Krebs, Quinn, and Norris. But it's just something I'm going to do each time. The 4th star, and it is a fellow defenseman, and that is Mattias Samuelsson. Samuelsson, not only he picked up his 28th assist last night, but he assisted on a goal that will not be on the score sheet. In fact, when the goal was scored, he wasn't even on the ice. And this is concerning the Krebs goal that gave the team the critical 3-2 lead with just 3 and change left on the clock in the third. The play all started in the Buffalo zone with a pass, and I think it could have been Barzell. He threw it towards the middle of the slot, and there is Samuelsson just calmly in perfect position and just taps a pass about 5 feet back to Dahlin, who gets it up to Thompson, who loops that pass cross ice to Tuck, who swoops in, hits the afterburners, swoops around the net, finds Krebs, 3-2. Samuelsson and Dahlin were on the bench when the goal was scored. So if you look at the official score sheet, he's not even credited with being on the ice for that. But that's the kind of smart defensive play that he made, that he's been making all year. And it doesn't show up in the score sheet, but it was critical for that goal to be scored, for that play to start. He started it, right? He made the play back to Dahlin. Dahlin, obviously, with the great first pass to Thompson down the wing, and away we go. I'll tell you something. I apologize to Mattias Samuelsson. I would have traded him in the offseason for a second round pick, and eat some of his contract. And maybe we could talk future considerations, or maybe even a 7th in there if you had a good sale job. sales job by Kevin Adams. This incarnation of him this season is something that we saw a little bit of a few years ago when he got the contract, the 7-year deal. That disappeared. And whether it's through injury, whether it's through the fact that defensemen take time to develop, not everybody's Cale Makar that can jump out of college and start in the Stanley Cup playoffs and at an elite level and maintain that elite level. It takes defensemen time. It takes goaltenders time. Young defensemen are going to turn the puck over. It's just the fact of life. It's the fact of learning the league. But I don't know what clicked for him in the offseason. And I don't know if it's the coaching staff with Lindy. I don't know if it's obviously playing with Darlene helps. I don't know if he finally felt right. I tend to think that the game slowed down for him. And he, a couple years in now, it just made a lot more sense. And it's night and day. Last year, the only highlight I can think of is when in an afternoon game when the Red Wings were in town, he accidentally ran into Dylan Larkin behind the net. It was a great hit, but Larkin kind of ran into him. And you're thinking there's a 6'6" frame. Why don't you use it more? Well, he's been outstanding. Like I said, plus his 28th assist, his plus minus is over 30. He has been outstanding, incredibly responsible, chipping in on offense, and he's another one I'm going to be watching how he adjusts to playoff hockey. And I'm going to do a segment right before the playoffs on players I'm looking at on the Sabres, because as you know, all hockey fans, some guys disappear when it comes to the playoffs, and some guys appear out of nowhere because it's a completely different game. And who on the Sabres can handle it and who can't. And I'm counting on Mattias Samuelsson to be able to handle it. He's been just a revelation all season long, and I, like many others, did not see this coming. And he has been a cornerstone of the core four back there on defense, along with Darlene, Power, and Bowen Byram. And Zach Metsa comes up and plays a nice, solid game. Hey, what would you expect? Anything else in the solid 5 role playing against Logan Stanley? And we'll see if Stanley sticks as the 6. So, hey, look, another win, another late in the game win, taking a tie game and turning it into 2 points. Shen did, the empty netter wound up being the game winner because Shen scored with 1 second left. But, they have proven, and I just honestly don't know where this has come from. And I don't think anybody does. Mentally, they have grown up overnight and through the course of a few months. It's amazing. Last year, they would have lost that game 5-2. Last year, the Tampa Brawl game a few weeks ago, they would have lost that game, probably 7-4 after blowing a big lead. They just seem to have matured. And it seems like the core has matured. And I don't know whether it's the rumors I hear Lindy eased up on him, adjusted his style, or he's finally making sense to them. Whatever it is, it's been just a wonderful ride so far with 7 games to go. And tomorrow night they get an Ottawa team that, here's another one that's desperate. They're off tonight, 86 points. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot for the second wild card behind Columbus, who's got 88, and Boston's running away with the first wild card for 94. And who knows, they might not stay in that position for that much longer as they're coming up on Montreal, 2 points behind. But you get a desperate Ottawa team. Linus Ullmark, with all his, off the ice issues, whatever they were, has not had a great season. And this team has been, a lot of injuries as well, but they're going to run into a team that quite frankly can't lose from here on out. They can afford maybe one regulation loss because they're in a battle with, let's see, Columbus is 2 up on them, and they're tied with Detroit, Philadelphia, with all 3 with 86. and Washington with 85. So you know what the fuck they're telling you, like, guys, we cannot fucking do this. We can't lose. We have to play balls out hockey to win. And the Sabres saw that on Friday against Detroit and didn't respond well and let a bad 20 minutes determine their night. We'll see what happens tomorrow night as they travel to Ottawa to take on the Sens and only need 2 points to clinch a playoff spot. Unbelievable. Nobody saw this coming, and ain't it grand? All right. Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, I guess, whatever you do for these channels. And I'll see you back here hopefully tomorrow.